It is repetition which makes for perfection.
It's an unboxing video, overdue. Sometimes I get mailed things. Sometimes it happened to be of my own work, right? So there's a reason to open. All right, let's see what we got here. So it is the Jim Lee X-Men Artist Edition. Can you see this? Okay, it's from IDW in conjunction with Marvel. This is put together by Scott Dumbier. As you guys know, IDW was formed by several former Wildstorm employees, and then Scott Dumbier joined them as, I don't know if he's their special projects editor. So let's do this. I should probably do it like on camera. Look, oh, here we go. It opens up like this. So this cover sold for $300,000. That's a lot of money, man. I don't know if that includes the VIG. If it doesn't, it went for $325. The buyer had to pay $325, and you guys know the whole story about this, right? So this is the first issue, 268, of my run on the book on Uncanny X-Men. The way original art gets divided is the inker gets every third cover, so I get 2 out of 3. And Scott and I had started counting when we started working together on Punisher War Journal. And so it just happened to fall that on this particular issue, the first of our run, Scott Williams got this cover. And we got it back like right before San Diego Comic-Con. And we're at Comic-Con, and this is probably what, 1990, I don't know, 90, 91, 90. Anyway, so he sold this cover for the most amount that we've ever sold a piece of original art together, for $650. And we were like, wow, man, you cleaned up, man. Held tight, firm on the price. You got what you wanted. Some sucker bought a piece of paper with black lines on it for $650. Now, mind you, I was selling sketches, I think, for $20 a pop. You know, and interior pages would go for like $150, $200. So a cover $650 seemed very, very high. Now, just so you know, you could have bought a Jack Kirby interior page around that time for like $400 a page. So everything, you know, was priced accordingly. Anyway, so this kid buys this cover. He was like a 16-year-old kid, and his family, I believe, you know, had like some sort of business. And so it was in this kid's collection, and he's an adult now, right? Hanging on their wall for decades. And then they finally decided to sell it at auction. And what's cool is that Scott got half the money because he was the original owner. Oh, that would have been a good story if that were true. But anyway, so so here it is. Well, they put a spot varnish, right? So if you look at it, look how it reflects the light like that. All right, but not everywhere. So there's no varnish here. See how that glow does not extend, that lightsaber effect, right? So it's a fancy way to kind of, you know, give a little sparkle to a cover. Scott Sparkle, you know, yeah. And that's, you know, getting back to this cover, there are people that had the opportunity and passed because the price was too high. It's not like the kid was the only, like, you know, people were coming by and like, whoa, like we were pushing the limits of what, you know, we were selling covers for. And then even later, as the prices started moving up, even charging like $2,000 for a cover seemed crazy. Like, holy cow, who's going to afford this? And then at $4,000, you know, etc. So it's crazy. Yeah, but the kid did make a pretty good investment. And more importantly, didn't need to resell, right? Because if they had kept in the scene, they would have known that it was worth 10 grand, and they might have been tempted at that point to sell, right? Like, but if you, it's like Doge or Bitcoin. You just buy it, you just sit on it, and then you wake up and like, I've got 300 grand, right? It wasn't quite like that. I mean, I think he knew before this year or last year when this went to auction, but they weren't actively involved. Because if you're actively involved, most all the major pieces of art goes through many hands as people kind of sell it, thinking that it's kind of reached the high point. So anyway, so this is Jim Lee's X-Men Artist Edition. Oh, look at this! I've not seen any of this. So this page, right, did not sell right away. I owned this page. I still own this page, I believe. Yes, and someone wanted to buy this page, and I was charging $1,500, and they were like, "You're crazy." People get pissed off. It's not just a price; it's some sort of a personal insult to people when things are high. And $1,500 is a lot of money. I don't want to downplay that, but they passed on it, and then every convention thereafter, I would see the same person, and he's like, "Oh, I really regret not buying it," because then it moved up to 3 grand, and then 4,500. I kept moving it up, right? And and then unfortunately, that person passed away tragically very early in his life, and so that's another reason why I sort of remember this page and the story, and it's just kind of like you know, life is short. Art is as valuable as you want it to be, and if it moves you, you should. What is it called? The Moscow rule of shopping. Like, if you see something you like, get it because it might not be there tomorrow for whatever reason. Okay, let's see what else we got. Probably very slow. So yeah, here's a shot of art. It's one of my favorite shots of Wolverine and Jubilee. I have not looked at this at all. So this is from X-Men #1, I believe. Whoa, there's a lot of detail here. That's cool. All right. Oh, look. Scott Williams wrote the foreword. Boy, I have to read this later. I'm sure he wrote some positive. Oh no. Lazy, slacker, carried his ass on my back. What? Oh, maybe I shouldn't be reading this. Anyway, whatever. Mr. $650. No, he wrote something very, very kind, I'm sure. So I will read that later. So this is the first page, X-Men 248, and Dan Green inks. Ooh, double page spread. I remember drawing that. The challenge of this, I wanted to get something really large. And boy, I don't know. Yeah. Big shapes, big shapes, big shapes. And even this, like, it's a little weird. I mean, I was still figuring out how to draw these characters. But I was trying to definitely push, like, sort of the boundaries of dynamic posing. We've got some Psylocke pages here. That's a common thing. Like, whenever I draw high-tech people, like in labs and stuff, they're always wearing these, like, helmets. Like, whether it's Suicide Squad or X-Men or Wildcats, all my dudes at monitors wear these gigantic helmets, which cannot feel comfortable. It's inspired by the Death Star, but still cannot feel comfortable. I mean, just wearing headsets, not super comfortable. So this here is Letraset. It's a decal that you cut and paste down. It yellows with time. The glue yellows with time, so it was not originally yellow like that or like that. Stuff was expensive. We had to pay for it ourselves. But I loved how Klaus Janson used it over Frank Miller's art on Daredevil. And so we would drive to the art store, like those one art store in San Diego that sold it. And, it's like $20 or $40 a sheet or something crazy like that, which adds up. All right, so these are the pages. I'm not going to go page by page because there's a ton, although this is fascinating. But I will quickly go through. So what's interesting about this is, let's see if I can find. Let's see if I can find the mark. All right, so X-Men 268, Bob Harris, X-Men editor at the time, calls us up. We had Homage Studios, me, Wilson, Scott Williams. I said, look, we're really late on this issue. We need it right away. Can you guys turn around in 9 days? And we said, because we were young and stupid, sure, the three of us will work together and jam it out. And so I did the layouts for the whole issue. Wait. No, Wills did layouts for the whole issue. We all play to our strengths. Wills at that point had been drawing Punisher, did really great kind of Frank Miller inspired kind of layouts, and then I would quickly do finished pencils over his layouts. I would pencil and ink the backgrounds, and Scott would ink the figures. Wills go in and pencil, so figures as well. So. And then sometimes the pages, we were catching up on each other's work. And so with the original page, we would cut it in half, like this. And then I would work on the top half, and then Wills would work on the bottom half. And then we'd splice it and tape it back together and then mail it in. So I think 1 or 2 pages from this issue are cut in half. So you can tell. So this is marker. That's me. It's kind of it's kind of not decayed. It's kind of lightened over time. These are Scott Williams inks over Wills Portacio pencils. That's Wills Portacio using a Sharpie marker, I believe, right there. All the backgrounds are mine. All the special effects are mine. That's my plane there. That's Wils's figure, Scott's inks. So we all kind of touched the pages here and there. This looks like a photostat. Look how it is white. I don't know what happened there. Like they put lettering over a photostat. I'd have to see the original. But you can see there's quite a bit of whiteout. No issues there. My lovely Bayou backgrounds down here. Wills Portacio pencil, Scott Williams inks. My jambalaya. My cityscape down here. My, what's it called? The Latin Quarter? New Orleans? All right. So, pencil and ink these figures down here myself. And so that's how that got put together. I wish I could find a page that had the seam line on the original. It doesn't look like it's in this book. All right, then here's all right, let's just go through a little faster because this is going to take forever. Yeah, I did that. Yep, I drew that. I remember that. Don't remember that. Yep, sure. Cool. Deathbird. Oh, well. Oh, look at this. That's pretty cool. That's like some cover. And that's the triptych poster. It was a promo piece. It was going to be their costumes for a brief moment, I think. Or maybe it was their costumes. No, that was like just a random Storm costume I designed. never used for anything. I'll say this Magneto, for an old dude that had survived since the Holocaust, in very good shape. I'm guessing a keto diet. What else do we have? Oh, that I like that panel. I like panels where people look kind of depressed and are wallowing in their misery in shadows, and then usually a cast shadow or something across them. That reminds me of a shot that Frank Miller did where Bruce Wayne has come back to the mansion. He's gone out to fight crime, but hadn't come up with the Batman costume yet. And then he like sinks in his chair. He's like all half in shadow. David Mazzucchelli drew this Batman Year One, and then he sees the bat through the window. Says, "I shall become a bat." And so Magneto is probably like, you know, staring at the refrigerator, and there's like little, you know, best mutant dad ever, Wanda and Quicksilver, and then I shall become a magnet, a Magneto. Anyway, a master of magnetism. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, Vizier in the house. Good morning. I'm sure there's a lot of conversation I'm missing here. So, a lot of iron in his diet. Yes, Spinny G. Yes. I need a writing staff to feed me lines so I can be very witty. Be like, oh, you should say this. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Look at that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, well, all the lettering was glued on the page. The books were so old, and that's why all that yellow is there. So you can see that they cut it out and laminate it, and they would stick it on the originals. And that's how it was done back then. So with successive issues, Willis was doing Uncanny X-Men, I was doing X-Men. We were both falling behind on our deadline. So we would help each other out towards the end of every deadline. I would jump in on Uncanny, or he'd jump in on my book. If we had just stayed on our respective books, we probably would have made our deadlines, but it's sometimes funner to paint someone else's white picket fence, right, than to do it as work yourself. So if you look at this page, X-Men number 5, my pencils, that's Wils's renderings over my layouts. That's Wils's shadows over my layout. But just those two. And then I penciled and inked that that background, those figures there. So we are using sort of what we learned from X-Men 267, and then we would apply it. Like towards the end of a deadline, we did everything to get the book done. We would just pick up pens, pages, just get it done, right? And getting it out monthly was all important. So look at this page, this horrible signature. So this is page 1 of issue 6, I believe. I would not draw in order, so this is probably one of the later pages for sure. And I inked that panel, that figure. I inked this whole page. Yeah, I pencil and inked this whole page. And then over here, I think Art T. Bear looks like he inked it, and maybe Sal Regla. There are different inkers, right? Sometimes pages had to get delivered to people in Southern California. There was no same-day courier, and so R.T. Bear did finishes on that issue. So there you have it. Anywhere where you see marker, that's me. Like that's my panel. Inks, those are my lovely bricks in the background. Look at that lovely, whatever that is. That's all me. Anyway, all right. So, oh, covers. Covers at the end. Let's see if there's any covers I haven't seen that cover in a long time. Gave that cover away. I still have that one. bunch of trading cards. And so there you go. It is more than just a unboxing. That was a walk down memory lane for sure. And so I want to read that forward that Scott wrote. Anyway, check it out. I think the book just came out recently. Highly recommended. What was it like creating Gambit? My favorite character for 30 years. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Creation of Gambit. How do I was in the New York offices of Marvel. I was in Bob Harris's office. Chris Claremont comes in, says, I've got a new character. I want I want you to design him. Or maybe Bob said that. I don't know. At that point, I think, already on the book. Yeah. No, I wasn't. I had done Acts of Vengeance, and I was about to take over the book. So I knew I was going to take over the book, but I wasn't. So, and this was for X-Men 267 first appearance. Oh, 266 first appearance of Gambit, I believe. 266? I don't know. You guys know. Anyway, so Chris comes in and says, I got a character named Gambit. And at the time, this is like early 90s. You have to believe me with this. You have to run with this. Cajun novelties were all the rage. And, cayenne, what's it called? Blackened catfish. That whole scene, right? The Cajun, right? The guy that would go bam and what's his name? The original Salt Bay guy, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, for some reason, Emerald Lagasse, that was a big deal. And so he wanted to create he wanted to create a character that drew his heritage from the Bayou, and spoke a little French because all the characters Tovarish or like unglaublich, Nightwing, Nightcrawler, Colossus. All these characters have their little catchphrases, right, in their native language. And Mundu, or whatever, Mon Chéri, right? That was Gambit's, and so that's all he had. And then I had so I didn't, I was asking like, what's his power? I don't think he had the power per se. Just that he was like kind of like the Gambit, right? Comes from like the Queen's Gambit. It's like a move in chess or whatever. So like he wanted the character to be sort of this Machiavellian, manipulative character. And I always like powers that were kind of derived from actual physics, science. And so I was like, hey, what if his mutant power was to be able to excite valence electrons in molecules? And valence electrons are, well, they're just, I don't know, fancy word for electrons. All right, I think if you have a quick science lesson, if I can remember, this is, all right, if you have a molecule, an atom, I don't know what it's called anymore. You have a nucleus. Here's the nucleus. The nucleus has a number. All right, if it's carbon, it's 12, I believe, right? Carbon, atomic table. Is there anyone here that knows this stuff? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. There's protons and then neutrons, which don't have. So protons have a positive charge. Neutrons are the same weight as a proton without a charge. And then you have to have negative. You have to have electrons, which are the negative. I don't know. Anyway, so there's these things. They're valence. Imagine these eights circling this nucleus, And then there are electrons, I think, that can be up here in the upstate or here in the downstate. These are valence electrons. They're important depending on what state. Like imagine like toggling a light switch up and down. And my understanding is that if you were to excite these valence electrons, it would create energy. That was like the thinking. Big Boss 138. I have no idea. It was clear to me at some point in my life, but now that I'm thinking about it, I have no idea. But electrons can move, can be in a unagitated state, or they can be in an excited, agitated state. And so Gambit's power, essentially to be a human microwave, he what particular his ability was to sort of agitate the valence electrons in molecules to an agitated state to the point where they exploded, right? And so that's he needed to touch a playing card. He could excite the electrons, throw it, and then it would explode, right? So that was the thinking. So that was the power. And then looking at the characters, you look at all the color sets and you realize Psylocke really had that purple pink, certainly the Betsy Braddock version, and she was kind of out of the team at the time, right? Replaced by other Psylocke, who was more of like a dark navy blue and red. So I wanted to pick a color that wasn't appropriated by other members of the team. So what was left over? Magenta, hot pink. Again, 90s. It was a cool thing. You have to trust me on this, right? And big shoulder pads on trench coats, also a thing. And so that's, and then I did these designs, and Chris and Bob picked the ones they liked, and then I supplied that to Andy Kubert, who drew the cover, the first cover appearance of the character, and then it also went to British artist Mike Collins, who drew the interiors. So that's why I didn't draw him the first appearance, because I was working on 267. We were doing that issue in like 9 days, right? So we were jamming on that.